A dosha, have you guys heard this word before? Dosha literally means a fault. A dosha literally means a fault or a challenge, something that is out of alignment. So when we're talking about doshas, it means a particular elemental fault. So let's just break down one essential aspect of understanding Ayurveda. Everyone go like this. If you have 5 fingers, if not, still do it. We love you anyway. So there's 5 elements. There's 5 gross elements or physical elements. There's earth. You can maybe put a finger down with me and repeat after me, please. We got earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Let's try that faster. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. You guys ever watched the last Avatar? Never heard of an ether bender. But when we're talking about the doshas, we're talking about a combination of these different elements. So there's 3 doshas or 3 types of elemental compositions in the body, which when they go out of balance, they cause a dosha or they cause a fault, some misalignment. The first one that we're going to talk about is Vata. Everyone repeat after me, Vata, V-A-T-A. Vata. Vata is a combination of air and ether in the body. It facilitates all type of communication and transportation in the body. Think in terms of what air and ether do, space and movement. The other dosha, and one of the other doshas we're going to be talking about is Pitta. Everyone say Pitta. Pitta. Pitta is the fire and water elements in the body. This is primarily related to digestion. Because literally the fire of digestion. And then the third dosha that we're going to be looking at is Kapha. Everyone say Kapha. Kapha, which means earth and water. This is all the structure and stability in the body. So just as if 5 wasn't simple enough, everyone go like this, 5, and I'll go like this, 3. So there's 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, which get further consolidated into these 3 categories: Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Some of you might already be very familiar with what we're talking about. I still encourage you to listen to everything with a new sense of freshness. See what's new in even these basic concepts, even if you're familiar with them. So these 3 doshas, when they are in misalignment in the body, they cause big issues or small issues or big issues, but different types of challenges to the body. When we are looking at how to keep doshas balanced, we have to look at 2 things. One thing is called our prakriti, one is called our vikriti. What these words means, prakriti means our constitution. Literally means like your birth constitution. When you came out of the womb, immediately, boom, you had a particular type of elemental composition. That means you had a certain amount of excess fire in the body. You had a certain amount of excess earth in the body, whatever the case might be. And that's why, go ahead and look around the Zoom room here. Everyone looks very different. Even some people look similar because they have similar dosha, similar prakritis. But for the most part, we all look very different. And that's because we have different types of elemental composition. So we have our prakriti, which means our birth constitution, the time of birth. What is our standard alignment or our most natural? Prakriti literally means like nature. So it's like your natural alignment. And then we have another word I want you guys to repeat. And this is called Vikriti. We're going to throw it in the group chat. You see it there. So Vikriti. And if your pronunciation is terrible, fantastic. It doesn't matter at all. You can pronounce it however you want. Vikriti means a misalignment. That means a transformation in the body, but the way we're going to talk about it is a misalignment. When things go out of balance, and specifically when we talk about our Vikriti, we're talking about our current alignment, balance. So we need to understand both of these before we start talking about balancing anything, because one of the most common things that I probably dealt with, at least dozens, if not hundreds of clients in the past, is we take a dosha quiz online. You don't have to admit to this if you're like me and you did this at one point in your life, where you took a dosha quiz online and then you start following that particular, it says, oh, you're a this or that. You're a Kapha Pitta. you're a Vata, or whatever the quiz might say, and you start changing your lifestyle, following those principles, and not feeling better. Has anyone else experienced that before? Kind of like what Dana was throwing in? Okay, some of you. Super common thing. It's usually because we're not being clear if it's identifying your birth constitution or if it's identifying your current misalignment. Because if I have too much earth and water in my body right now, but not a lot of earth and water in my prakriti, in my birth constitution, and therefore I start supplementing with these qualities, means adding more earth and water into my body while I already have excess earth and water. Guess what's going to happen? Make a face, everyone. What do you think? What's going to happen to the body? Not very good. Yeah, those are some good faces. Not very good. Better get it fixed. If we're balancing the wrong things and we're not clear on what needs to be balanced, then naturally we can be furthering any issues. Just a reminder, if you can have your video on, we'd love to see you. Doesn't matter what you look like. We don't judge. Doesn't even matter what you smell like, because we can't smell you through the screen. So the first way, or the first thing that we want to identify is actually the Vikriti, your current imbalances. Now, someone unmute, tell me, why is it more important that we identify your current misalignments before we look back at your birth constitution? It's kind of like saying, yeah, you know, my car, when I first bought my car, the alignment tends to go to the left. If I let go of the wheel, it starts to go to the left. And then so you bring it into the shop, you say, yeah, you know, when I first bought the car, that was the issue. Could you like fix that, please? And they say, yeah, no problem. I fix it, but it's still going all the way to the right. It's not going a little to the left, it's going all the way. You're like, oh yeah, right before I took it in, it goes all the way to the right. It's like, well, then why am I fixing it to the left? I mean, this might seem kind of trivial and simple, but it's a really important concept when we're talking about balancing yourself. Raise your hand if you've ever done like an online dosha quiz, or if your video's off, you just give a little emoji thumbs up in the corner. See if you guys know. Can you guys try that? There it is. Thank you. So usually a lot of those are talking about your prakriti. They'll say, you know, they're asking aspects of your physiognomy. And in a minute, we're going to talk a little bit about like how to identify your constitution according to literally your different features, like the body shape, your jaw shape, the quality of your eyes and your lips, etc., which is quite fast. Is that something that fascinates you guys to explore today? Okay. So usually we're talking about that. We're not actually identifying what's the current temporary misalignment. Until we address that first, it's going to be really hard. Usually we look at our prakriti for how to maintain health while we're there. When we're not experiencing huge misalignments in the body, we use our prakriti to avoid it. Because again, the prakriti simply means, hey, from birth, you have these elements in excess. So for instance, I have a lot of kapha in my constitution, which is that earth and that water. I'm a dense dude. Or as we say in modern vernacular, thick. You know, kapha, I'm a hairy, wide, squishy dude. And some of you kaphas like, yeah. Some of you others are like, no, that's not me. And so therefore, according to my birth constitution, I had to be very careful because I can gain weight like it's going out of business. I mean, no problem. You give me 2 weeks, give me a weight, I'll be there without even trying. That's just how my body works. I can retain water like it's no one's business. But because I traveled for years as a monk, I was a monk. I look like this, in case you're wondering. It's with orange robes, was the only difference. And I travel all around the world, and traveling, being stuck in a little airplane, zooming all around the world, eating on different schedules, that is going to disrupt what dosha the most. You can throw it in the group chat around me for this. What's traveling? Specifically in the air, getting squeezed and compressed, going very fast. That's right, Michelle. Vata, all the air, all that facilitates all the movement and transformation and transportation in the body. So therefore, a lot of my issues are actually Vata, which is the opposite, air and ether. Therefore, I don't want to eat a diet and follow a lifestyle that's going to be kapha pacifying. I want to first focus on making sure that my Vata isn't to an excess. But once all of these temporary issues are dealt with, then I can be very cautious as to not be implicated by having so much kapha, like gaining weight, or like all the other fun things that come with being kapha. Give me a head bob if this is making sense.